Working under the new offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley, how do you think his creativeness will kind of help out the run?
I think it will a lot. I think, the pass and run, it's very complementary to each other. I think, you can pass the ball very efficiently. You can run the ball very efficiently. You run the ball very well, you're going to be able to pass the ball really well. And I think Coach Riley gives us that versatility as an offense to do either or. And on top of that, I think as, players, the personnel we have on offense also give us that chance to do either or just as well as another. Whether that's our passing game with Cade and like Bo, Antonio Williams, Cole Turner, guys like that, or whether it's our run game with, Ship, Maffa, and, some of the dogs we got up front. So I think it's really exciting.
Also playing a lot of snaps, the 19th most in Clemson history. How are you able to protect your body and prevent injuries?
Yeah, I think just as getting older, being proactive, right? When I was younger, maybe something hurt. It's like, you're being soft and stuff like that. When really that's not necessarily the case, because those small injuries can lead to even bigger ones. And it's really just taking care of your body. But also for me, this is the best I've ever felt. I mean, I've heard guys when they're in their 4th and 5th year and they're talking about how beat up they feel and all stuff like that. This is the best I've ever felt. When I was younger, I was a lot of times had injuries and stuff like that. Last year was the first year really that I've played that I didn't really have an injury. I was good to go. And I think sometimes that's kind of a relief as well.
One more question for you. As your 5th year and your 2nd year at center, how do you think your game has matured and progressed along the years?
I think if I could say anything, I've become more comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes any sense. I think I'm able to process things faster, not only for myself, but for the offensive line. I think leadership helps as well, right? Because, my teammates, whether they directly or indirectly, they make me want to be better. They push me to be better while I try to make them better as well. And I just think more comfortable, just a little more crisp. I think efficiency on my stance is going to be better. I think I'm a little bit quicker. I think just my body's better. I had a great summer on that level, so I'm excited, and just kind of building off maybe just some of the success I had last year, but also building and becoming better off maybe some things I didn't do as well last year. It's just another year to grow, and I think with that experience we're talking about, the more experience you have, the more you understand how you can deal with that kind of stuff. And this is the last year for me, so yeah, I think it'll definitely be better.
So you've accomplished everything in terms of the conference that you can. You've been all conference multiple times. You've won ACC championships and all that. But it seems like Clemson has a national focus. And in terms of that, for you as an individual and this is a team, if you were to receive All-American honors as well as winning a national championship this year, what would those two things mean?
It would mean a lot to me, and I think even more so, I hope it would mean a lot to my teammates, because really, I can't do this without my teammates. And like I was saying earlier, they're the ones that motivate me to be better. While I'm trying to be a leader, trying to motivate them, in turn, directly, indirectly, they make me want to be better. And being center, I can't do it without the guys left or right of me, right? I'm not. It's not a solo gig for me. It's really all 5. If I do well, everyone does well. Everyone does well, I do well, right? So that's what it really means to me. It wouldn't just be from a personal standpoint, but just it's something I'd be really proud, and I hope our entire offensive line can be proud about, and as it'd be for anyone getting any sort of accolades.
Will, your next question is from Noah over here on the side.
Who inspires me the most? Man, that's a tough question. I think one person inspires me both is my older brother. I have an older brother. His name's Neil. He's 3 years older than me. And he's someone that inspires me every single day, because we're not. He was a wrestler. He wrestled in college. So he was a college wrestler. He played football as well, but he inspired me every single day because he lived right the right way.
How do you feel like this offensive game has grown since the spring and just getting comfortable with Garrett Riley?
Yeah, I think with Coach Riley, I think just as a whole unit, offensive unit, we have more cohesion. I think there's better chemistry. And I think sometimes that chemistry off the field, it can really, it can start leading on the field. And I think Coach Riley, like I said earlier, him becoming to Clemson's brought a lot of excitement. And I think that's really contagious. And it's really positive for the program. I would expect tempo. More tempo. Yeah, we're ready for it. We're We've been conditioning hard all summer so we can be prepared for it. We're ready for it, so we're excited. That's something that we've practiced a lot over the summer is being able to run the tempo when necessary, and if we need to slow it down, we can slow it down. we need to speed it up, we can speed it up. We can do both because we want to be very versatile and capable of whatever needs to be done.
I think I've got this right. We're used to the big boards coming up over there on the sidelines, with the pictures on them. So that's no longer.
I guess not. No. I mean, I don't think they are. I think Coach Riley might be on the sideline. I'm not too sure about that. It's mostly like quarterback stuff. I'm not too sure.
I guess speaking of conditioning, I think I heard you ran 5K.
Yeah.
So where'd you get that?
Our strength coach, Coach Hogan, he does triathlons, and he's very much into triathlons, very much into fitness in general. And I'll work out with him sometimes. We might go swimming and stuff like that. And he was doing triathlon, and he asked me if I would do the running leg of it because he was going to swim and bike. And I didn't really want to, but I ended up just agreeing. I kind of got guilted into it, and I ended up doing it. Actually, I thought it was a 5K. It was actually 4 miles, so it was a little more than that. And that was brutal. It was brutal. Don't really want to do it again, but I did it once. I'm glad I did it, and that's one thing he told me. He's like, look, I've never met anyone or myself personally that have done like a triathlon, done some sort of race that at the end of the day was regretted it and wish they didn't do it. So obviously I didn't get first place by any means, but tried my best. So. Yeah, I mean, just kind of more. I guess the coaches are going to put a little bit more trust into us up front on maybe certain things we see. I know. I mean, obviously, like anything else, it'll be week to week kind of basis. Whether it's kind of in the run game or in pass protections, because Cade has a lot on his plate, and I think kind of the coaches maybe giving us some of that decision-making capability can kind of take some off of his plate and the rest of the backfield. And at the end of the day, as offense line, our job is blocking people. So I think kind of giving us that decision-making ability a little bit more is going to be beneficial for everybody. You say that again? I couldn't hear you. Yeah, no, definitely. I really think so too, and I think also with Coach Riley coming in, I think, like I said, with giving us more decision-making ability, you need to be able to make decisions right. So you need to know more, which is kind of almost force you to learn more about defensive fronts and stuff. Which I'm very welcoming that open. I'm wide arms open with learning more knowledge about that stuff. And I mean, if that's what needs to be done, that's what's going to get done. And yeah, definitely study a lot more defensive fronts, understanding the backfield, not just the defensive line, but even coverages in some cases, and blitz recognition, all that stuff. But not just me, I think the guys all across the board on the offensive line have done that as well. And I think that's also something that you can credit Coach Austin to by putting an emphasis on over the offseason. Is not just, what can you do physically, but also what can you do mentally, and how we can improve on that.
Okay, well, Jen Lewis with Teaching Certified at News Station Media. I was just wondering, in high school you were a dual-star standout athlete. How did you decide to stick with primarily football? And I don't think you're doing wrestling at Clemson.
No. Clemson doesn't have a wrestling program. I think for me, football is what I really like doing, and I loved wrestling as well. But any of the wrestlers out there, I mean, respect that's a tough life. So my brother, he wrestled at Oklahoma State, Division I program, and it's pretty brutal. And just football was what I really loved doing. I loved wrestling. I always try to keep a mindset of when I was doing both sports is, when I'm in wrestling season, wrestling's the only sport I do. That's what I want to do. When I'm in football season, that's the only sport I do. That's what I want to do. And I guess for me, how I decided was I kind of use an analogy in a way. It's like, okay, if I'm going to sit, what would I be okay with more, sitting and watching a wrestling match or sitting and watching a football game being played that I could be playing in? And for me, I felt like, it would hurt me more to be sitting in the sense watching a football game that I could be playing in than, maybe watching a wrestling match that I could be wrestling in.
That's smart.
And that's kind of how I decided a little bit.
One other question. Last season, what was the favorite play that you cultivated off the cuff during game day?
The favorite what?
Favorite play that you cultivated off the cuff during game day?
Favorite play? I think my favorite was when Ship jumped over that one guy in Louisville.
Okay.
That was really good. I got the linebacker good on that, and I saw him just running and I'm running not to catch up with him, to go celebrate him in the end zone because I knew he was about to do something crazy and jumped over that guy. That was awesome.
You skipped your senior year wrestling, right?
Yes, I did.
Do you regret that at all? Are you glad you did it?
I've thought about it. In the day now, I don't really regret it. That's not really something I'm thinking about too much. But yeah, sometimes I do. You know, that's something when obviously like anything else, you know, you move on. But that's something, you know, I spent a lot of time in. I spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that sport as well. And you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, but at the end of the day, my goal was, you know, I just wanted to be a state champion before I left high school. 2 would have been really cool. I can't say I would have because I never did. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I know I'm going to play football in college. This is just kind of like a side accomplishment I really want to achieve. I achieved that. It was time for me to move on. And I think because I wanted to early enroll, and I think early enroll really helped me be prepared for my career at Clemson. Yeah, I knew I was coming back. I mean, yeah, I pretty much expected to come back this whole time.
So growing up, who really helped cultivate your competitive side? Your brother, your dad?
Yeah, I mean, my brother and my mom and my mother. I mean, yeah, my mom's pretty stubborn. She can be stubborn and competitive, but in the good ways. And then obviously my brother naturally, so I moved around a lot growing up, so I didn't really have like, you know, long-term childhood friends. I just had my brother and I moved around. And, you know, up until maybe high school, we were always about the same size. So whether I was wrestling, you know, playing football, you know, just doing kid stuff, fighting in the backyard, stuff like that, really helped drive me. And I think for him, since he was 3 years older than me, you know, mentally he's progressing faster than I am. He's 3 years ahead of me. And I, at a young age, seeing him, you know, turn into a competitor at a young age kind of helped kind of kickstart, I think, my competitiveness as well, which really helped me, which I can attribute to him.